exactly how you planned it? 6 takeaways from your defense?
It was pretty nice, but the thing that the players always are ribbing me about was I wasn't satisfied because we touched 3 other ones we should have had, and they were 3 simple other ones, and they made some difficult plays though. Some of the ones they did make were pretty rare on what they did, and that's a huge part of our improvement for this year. It's been a point of emphasis since I got here last year. But, at times last year we were allergic to them, and now we have been on a roll doing that. And we got to continue to do that to be a top defense in the league and to help our offense and help this team.
What can you say about the way Denzel Ward contributed?
It was nice to see him make plays, and it was also a big smile to my face of how comfortable he felt playing in the game. He has some things he has to continue to improve on, some things he hasn't been asked to do before because the college game is a different kind of a game that we play at this level. But making plays at the ball, on the ball, was very good. Has to do a couple more things in the run front, a couple other things that the corners on other teams and other systems don't have to do. But it was a very positive way for him to get started in the league. And how proud he was of now knowing that he belongs, or that he becomes closer to belonging, because a rookie has a hard time at being accepted by his teammates for quite a while. And it was good to see his teammates celebrate with him too.
He told us yesterday that despite what he did well, he is disappointed that he gave up that touchdown catch to Antonio Brown, which the outside looking in just looked like a phenomenal play from a great player.
We call that play, and I'm glad you said that, we call that an earned play. That play was highly earned, and he was as good as you could almost be, just a small percentage point that he is usually able to separate the ball at the very end of the play, but it was well thrown, well earned. And then, and I'm in the same situation on the situation of calling the coverage at that point in time. Wanted to go back to some man-to-man because of my trust in him, and I still have high trust in him. Those are the throws that teams have to earn, and they did.
What about the challenge of Michael Thomas, a different style receiver than Antonio, and how Denzel can handle that?
Each week we're going to have those battles, and what I think is good for us right now is take a look at the guys we're going against in practice every day. So we have those kinds of guys that we're competing against in practice every day. We know that we're going to have those matchup things, be it from a favoritism of the quarterback or from a skill set of the receiver. So it's just another week. We're going to have to do a good job of doing that. And I think that the thing that you see with that good of a receiver, and then how good the quarterback is too, and that synergy that they have with each other, we've got our work cut out for us.
You were running a quarterback forever, or for a long time. Just what makes Drew, one of the best ever?
People have no idea about this young man's work ethic, and he's been an overachiever his whole life on how he grew up, a coaching family, on how he grew up in Texas, wasn't offered tons of scholarships, had one, goes to Purdue and outshines everybody else and comes into the league. The smile on my face is that one of the relationships with me and him is that I wanted to take him in the first round when I was a head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Got pushed away from that. So this is a true story. He gets picked one pick before we are going to pick him at the Bills by the Chargers that year. And so I was hoping to have a chance to be with him for a long time as a head coach. But I got a chance to go back through them with him as an assistant coach. He's at the office before anybody else gets there every morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:15. When other people in the organization by the end of the week are starting to go homes and see families, he's there on Friday night at 11 o'clock, 11:30, midnight, still watching. The game plan runs through him. One of the things in the Super Bowl that's one of my fondest memories of him is I was walking through the hotel the night after, right before the curfew, the night before the Super Bowl, to make sure there was no scraps of paper or stuff left laying around, game plans laying around. And I come by the quarterback room, and it's 5 till 11, and Drew Brees has the video going on up there and has all the chairs out of the room, and he's going through the first 15, visualizing and stepping through, throwing, checking, doing all this kind of stuff. And I don't think he ever even saw me standing there in the dark looking in the door watching him do this at 5 till 11 before curfew that night. He outworks everybody. Not only is he an intelligent quarterback, but he outworks everybody. And it's amazing how luck follows those people that are more prepared and outwork everybody else. And he's very special. He really is.
It sure seemed like the last time, I think that was the last time you faced Sean Payton, that he ran up the score on you. Here you are going back into New Orleans. What are your emotions? Do you feel like that happened?
No. Sean and I are very good friends, and there's still a lot of people in the organization. You know, I think Sean is, if not one of the best coach I've ever had a chance to work with. And then he and I are friends for life. We'll walk together for life with a Super Bowl trophy. There's still several guys on the staff that, you know, were on my staff and stuff down there too. There's people in the organization. No, you know, and the one thing about Sean is Sean looking to score every time he has the ball. That's our job. And there's no run the score in the National Football League. No. That's not what the games are about, and I guess all the college games now, it's hard for me to watch. You know, people want everybody to take a knee. They don't do that. You know, our job is to play defense, and their job is to do, you know, what they do. So, no, good situation, have a lot of great memories down there, you know, living down there in the French Quarter, you know, this country boy, you know, growing up on a farm and everything, and I lived in the French Quarter when I was down there. A lot of good friends still down there. But inside the white lines, when we're playing on game day, okay, it's us against them, and that's how we have to play.
About Myles and making plays that impact the game. It's one thing to do it in the first quarter. It's another thing to do it in the fourth quarter. You got that from him last week. Just what was that like on the sidelines as far as really giving you guys a shot in the arm? Because it was 21-7.
One of the things that we talked about last week with Myles, when you guys asked me about him being voted as a captain, and I talked about his leadership example, and I talk about how hard he works and how important it is for him to be better than anybody else. You know, Myles wants to be in the upper echelon of whatever he does, whether it's academics, you know, whether it's, you know, hitting the speed bag, whether it's shooting baskets, you know, whether it is playing football. And he's prepared hard for this, and I'm very appreciative of how hard he's worked and how smart he has worked on keeping himself healthy. And again, I said this back in June, that one of the things I had to do with Myles is that we have to pull him back at times because how hard he works. But he's been smart about how hard he works. He's also been smart about how he's prepared to play more plays. And one of the things that we were doing in the ball game, you know, little did I know till the end of the game he played every play. But, you know, between series, I go check with him. I go check with all those guys because that was one of the things that he and I talked about long and hard in the offseason was about playing more plays. But in order to do that, you have to show that you deserve those plays because of your condition levels. Because I'm not going to play you when your conditioning is struggling in those situations because, one, it's less productive, and two, that's where injuries happen. He rose up and played, and you never saw any fatigue out of him at any point in time. And we've got to be smart. I've got to be smart on how we do that for the whole year. But in that particular game, especially with the stakes of in the fourth quarter of coming back and being in those games, you want him to be there to do those type of things, and he did. His teammates trust him and know that he's going to be in a position to make those kinds of plays, and we got to rally around him, and there's got to be some other playmakers out there, and there are. And it was fun to see some of those other guys make some really difference-making plays.
One of those guys was Fenard Avery. I mean, just what did you think of his first game?
Great smile to my face. And again, I think selfishly for myself, I've taken great pride in my coaching career on coaching guys, finding guys, tutoring guys, mentoring guys that other people don't think is quite good enough. And the chip on his shoulder and the intensity that how much he wants to succeed, it was great to see him play. He's going to have to battle through his health issues too, because he works so hard at it. But it was fun to see him make those plays that we see every day in practice that all of a sudden you guys got a chance to see too. I think we've just scratched the surface with him, okay? And I think you guys are seeing me utilize a different form or a different package on how we utilize him too. And that's my job. My job is to coach to his strengths and have him play to his strengths. And when he can do more, we'll let him do more.
Schobert's fumble return. I mean, you had guys in front of him, and somebody came from the side. Did you address that with your crew?
Yes. In fact, I've addressed it with, would you be talking about 95? Yes. And yeah, and we did, and we have in all of our takeaways, and that's one of the things. I thought we had 2 legitimate chances in those takeaways of scoring with them. And one of the things we do is we have a scheme, and we have a way that we practice. And I think my special teams background helps me, as a special teams coordinator, the years I've done all that stuff. And I thought that we had it set up pretty good, and we could have turned and blocked one more person, and we didn't, and then we blocked in the back and affected field position and made it a longer field goal, and we can't do those things. And, we overemphasize that. I thought the head coach did a good job with that today in our film work that we did today with the team, and we'd already covered it defensively, and then we got a chance to recover it again because of how we talked about that type of a play really can be the reason you win or lose a game. It was one of the reasons we tied a game.
You feel like had one guy turned and blocked Pouncey, he would have scored?
He scored. Yep, I really do believe that, and that's how we have it schematically understood, and that when, especially when a guy is trailing the play like that, and you can't make a legal block, you don't block. You don't block as you turn and find other work, but don't block that person and lose field position because of it.
Everything you said about Drew, then how do you go about slowing him down Sunday?
The biggest thing is that present different pictures. It's harder, when you present, unusual pictures or unusual schemes or unusual disguises. The more veteran you are, the more you've seen, and it becomes harder. And the biggest thing is for us to trust our own eyes, trust our own techniques, and play the way that we know we're supposed to play, and do things the way that we know schematically that we're supposed to do schematically, and also from a leverage and team concept. We have to do it as a team, not as an individual. And a team has to stop him, not one person.
Manual available Sunday, and then if you don't have Kirksey on top of that, just what type of problems?
One of the things that I do take great pride in this too is in our playbook is the things that I pass down to all the other young coaches to get a chance to coach with me. And I've got now over 150 out there that's in the NFL, NCAA, high school, guys that have played and that went ahead and coached, and guys that have coached and now they're on their own, is the philosophies that are in our playbook. And one of the 32 philosophies in our playbook is next man up. And that's how you go about coaching things. And the next man up is now he has his responsibility to fit into that role. And then we have our responsibility. I have that responsibility of tailoring things more towards what's suitable for that person. Okay, and maybe he can't do some of the same things that Emmanuel's doing or Kirksey's doing or whatever, but those guys, we got enough guys on this team that next man up, it's time to play.